Good.
All right, the crew, introduce yourself.
Scott, Darren.
Rick there.
And you know the coach. All right, let me give you a little something to think about before we get going. Ohio State and Notre Dame, two of the biggest brands and the most historic programs in all of college football, are going to be facing off in the first ever 12-team college football playoff national championship game. And when you're talking about blue blood programs, these are two of the most in the conversation in all of college football. First in the NFL, first round draft picks, second in all-time wins, and second in consecutive All-Americans. That, of course, the Buckeyes. So I do like the Buckeyes, but I'm kind of rooting for Notre Dame. And speaking of the Irish, they ranked first in overall NFL draft picks, which I did not know that. First in consensus All-Americans, fourth in all-time winning percentage, and fourth in all-time wins. Each school tied for second with 7 Heisman Trophy winners. Pretty incredible. Archie Griffin got 2 back in the day. Many of you may remember. And they've combined, are you ready, for 19 national championships between the two. Notre Dame with 11 and Ohio State with 8. You first. What do you think this game's going to come down to? Rick?
I think Ohio State's defense prevails and they win the ball game.
You're not even thinking about
Too much offense.
Jeremiah White? It's more defense, not Howard?
I just think their defense just stifles them.
All right. Go ahead, Kate.
I'm on the other end. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think whatever team's offense is clicking the most. I think a big defensive play might decide the game, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring one.
Now, this is a guy that could really do my job. We're just going to watch him work. Go ahead, Scotty.
I really don't think it might be close at all. I think Ohio State might blow them out. I think it's too much of a high-powered offense. If their offense continues to play the same way with Smith and Howard going, and both running backs, with Travion Henderson and Junkin, I don't think that I don't think it'll be a ball game. If that defense stays where they've been since they've been there, I don't think it'll be
And the other White, I mean, they've got 2 incredible receivers. I mean, they make Howard look like he's all world. I don't think I've ever seen in college football in my lifetime 2 receivers with that much talent on the same field.
last year.
Maybe 2 years ago.
Ohio State's wide receiver you now, right?
Well, they kind of like Penn State's linebacker you, they become wide receiver you, have they not? So let me just kind of stir the pot a little bit. I still think Ryan Day could end up in the NFL. I'm telling you what I'm telling you, because I don't think he wants to put up with all the crap that comes with being the Ohio State football coach. Him and Lou were verbally jousting with each other earlier in the season. They had a major upset. Then, of course, they got beat up that Michigan game. I just have this funny feeling he's not coming back. And I still think, even though he signed a new deal, Marcus Freeman could end up with the Chicago Bears. What do you think? No?
I think Marcus Freeman can end up with the Chicago Bears before Ryan Day in the NFL. But
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him be the heir apparent to Mike Tomlin.
that would be all right.
I can
I'm
live
still
with
a
that.
fan. I could go with that. That's for sure.
But when you think of Ohio State, Ricky, you think of Woody Hayes and Earl Bruce from Salem, Ohio. I mentioned Archie Griffin, right? Explain to me why finally there's no SEC. Is it name, image, and likeness that we're actually going to have a chance to watch Ohio State and Notre Dame? Notre Dame, no conference, so they're going to get the entire pot of cash, $14 million in all. But why is it that finally name, image, and likeness was the reason why we don't have to watch another SEC team battle it out for the national championship?
Well, I think part of that reason is that Nick Saban retired.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big part of the reason. Yeah, some of those teams are down. I don't think they'll be down very long. I think they'll all be back, right back at it. They're a good conference, but it's a beautiful thing to see the SEC not in the national title game.
All right, look, you know Coach Franklin will find a way to come back. He will. West Virginia, now that Rodriguez is there, you got to hope if you're a WVU fan, and I think Notre Dame is going to be locked and loaded for years to come. I did not do this. I think they're programming me when I sleep, but I ended up wearing University of Pittsburgh colors today. I don't know how it ended up this way, but I love my Pitt Panthers. So, Scotty, you always are on point. You speak from the heart. Will my Pitt Panthers ever have a chance, not to get to the national championship game? The last one, we're about ready to celebrate 50 years when Tony Dorsett was running in the backfield. And remember the big game he had against Notre Dame, over 300 yards rushing. Will they ever find a way to get back into the college football playoff? Pitt.
I don't know,
He speaks soft.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Only because with today being
20 million you
the
got.
NIL, you got top-rated kids going all over the place. So to me, I think it's very hard. One is they're going to have to get a quarterback, i.e. a Dan Marino, someone of that caliber coming through, and they're going to have to shell a lot of money if they do. That might get Pitt somewhere. They're decent now. but they're just, I don't know. Again, it's that NIL. It's all hinges on that.
Listen, just give a cool $1 million to Gavin Wright from East Liverpool. Let him go up there to the University of Pittsburgh. I love that.
That come
young
from
kid.
Rob, not Coach Reynolds.
I love him though. I'd like to see him go to Geneva, Coach DeMarco. Come on.
Gavin's worth anything he gets.
He's
for
a
sure.
good kid, man, and he's solid.
But I can't offer him $1 million.
No. I'll write the check. All right, listen. We're going to move on to some pro football in just a moment. But what do you think the final score will be? Go ahead, Ricky.
35-17 Ohio State.
39-21 Ohio State.
42-10, Ohio State.
Guys, I think Notre Dame's going to win by 14 points.
Wow.
I mean, think about how many points. What do they get?
You need that
9.5?
lone wolf
Ohio
thing.
State, yeah.
I'm telling you.
You got the wrong hat on.
I
You
know.
need that lone wolf.
Listen,
You
I
need to be
have
home.
some friends that used to be dear friends back in the day that went to Ohio State, and if I want to ever come back to this town, I had to show them a little love. Now, I want to talk about this NFL weekend. And I'm watching Travis Kelce with Pat McAfee the other day, and my guy, Greg Diolis, co-hosts the show with me every week. That's one of his clients with Milk and Honey. They also have Dua Lipa, so they do some entertainment, they do some sports. I love those guys from Cincinnati, the Kelce brother from Ohio, and of course went to the University of Cincinnati. But I think C.J. Stroud, speaking of Ohio State, this might just be the game that knocks them off that little shelf trying to get their third Super Bowl. What do you think?
As long as they can stay healthy, and he's got the tools, that's for sure. But as long as they can stay healthy and get after Mahomes, and that's a whole different animal. I mean, you've seen it time and again. I mean, when the chips are down, somehow Mahomes comes up with something, whether it's a no-look pass, and it's always to Kelce. So, I don't know. I'd love to see C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, those guys get ahead and get one, but that's a tall task.
It's hard for me to ever bet against Mahomes in Kansas City. They're almost having, I mean, they're our generation of the Brady effect right now. I mean, the guy's great. And I know younger generation, but I mean, he's that close to being in the GOAT conversation for me because the guy just wins football games.
How does a guy get a high ankle sprain and comes back in a week? I
He's
mean,
a winner.
he is. I mean, the guy, he's amazing. But when you think of what Andy Reid and company did, they rolled the dice, man. Traded away a Pro Bowl quarterback. And I think I heard earlier today, the Steelers, because we're going to talk a little Steelers here, Pickens, I hear that he's definitely on the trading block. They're not interested in Aaron Rodgers. You got to re-sign Justin Fields, but I'm thinking about maybe trading T.J. Watt away to get maybe Shedeur Sanders. What do you think?
We talked about that about a year ago about trading T.J. Watt. I mean, stock was up. Maybe not as much now. He didn't have as good of a season. He's still one of the best defensive rushers in the NFL. If you want some stock value, you're going to have to make a trade like that if you're the Steelers.
How good do you think Sanders is?
I'm not trading TJ Watt for him. Sometimes I think with the Pittsburgh success lately, I think a lot of it's rode on TJ Watt's back. I think when their offense is down, that defense has really carried Pittsburgh, and I'm not a Steeler fan, and I think TJ Watt's the heart and soul of that team, and I think without him, this team might not even be stepping the playoffs.
Wow. I'll tell you, this Riley Leonard from Notre Dame, I know everybody said he doesn't have the arm, doesn't have this, that, whatever, but man, I like this kid. I like him. Yeah, like you two had.
He's got some heart.
I say trademark, tank next year, and get Arch Manning.
There you go.
That one draft pick.
That's what I
And there
would
you
love
go.
that. That would change the entire course because if you don't have a losing season, you can't restack the deck. Bottom line. All right. So
I
who
have,
do you?
I have a feeling that Indianapolis is trying to think on the
Oh.
same lines.
Yeah.
Well, they won't have a problem tanking. They seem to do that every year.
With the Manning name there too.
Oh, I know.
Right,
I
that
get it.
helps.
So who do you like? Kansas City Texans.
That's a tough one for me. I think Kansas City's been off. Honestly, I think Kansas City probably wins the game, but I would not be surprised if Houston somehow pulls this game out.
I'm taking Kansas City, but I think it is close.
I think it's close. I'm gonna take Houston. Even though I don't think they can do it, I actually think that they'll pull this one out. I just think it's that time.
I think it's cool.
I think it's that time that they get knocked off. It's gonna be like, I think it's 2017.
Okay. Up next, Washington, the Commanders, and Jaden Daniels against the Detroit Lions. Go ahead.
Detroit, no doubt about it. Jake Daniels has been unbelievable this year. I mean, the guy's, I didn't think he had it in him. I thought he was too small. But no doubt he can play, but I just don't see him beating Detroit. I just think Detroit's going to come locked and loaded and ready to go.
I'm gonna go Detroit too. I think Daniels is, the next second coming of Lamar Jackson. I think he's great. Detroit's offense is stellar. Getting Montgomery back, I just think Detroit's got too much right now.
Ben Johnson going to leave for a head coaching job, and Mr. Campbell be as good when he's gone. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of Detroit.
They'll be just as good. I think Jared Goff's found his mark now. They'll win. I
They
don't.
got a running game,
I
too.
don't think it matters now. Offensive coordination wise, I think Campbell's got the wrap on the whole thing. Just get someone there that can similar to the same things, and let the Goff and that talent take over.
So who do you think wins that game?
Detroit.
Okay.
I think they're going to win it all.
Do you?
I do.
The Rams might have something to say about that. All right, well, listen, let's go to the Sunday games. This is the marquee matchup. I'm all in now on Buffalo. I mean, Marv Levy going back in the day, love him. Jim Kelly. All those years they got turned away. I hope that this is their year. I love Josh Allen. But Lamar Jackson, right now, in my opinion, next to Patrick Mahomes, they're bookends. It's really hard to pick who's the greatest because he's got the resume. You got to say Patrick Mahomes. But Lamar Jackson can flat out ball. And with Derrick Henry running the ball, they're really going to be a tough team to beat. Go ahead, Rick.
I think close game. I take Baltimore in a close game, just because of the running game.
Clock management, red zone. Go ahead.
I think this game's got a potential to be an absolute classic. I really do. I think two great quarterbacks, but I gotta go Buffalo because I love me some Josh Allen.
Me too, man. How about you?
Playing up in Buffalo with the Bills Mafia, I don't think Lamar's gonna be able to handle it.
Yeah, but they didn't have Potter's teeth. We had Potter's teeth.
That's right.
All right, one more game to look at. The upstart Rams. They tank. They always do the first month of the year. Aaron Donald, Penn Hills, University of Pittsburgh gone. Defense got a couple of lockdown corners, really have been impressive. And Matthew Stafford can throw the football. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, best tandem right now in the National Football League. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm concerned.
I'd be concerned too. I think Philadelphia, though, has built such a good roster there. I think they're probably the best roster left. I don't think they have the best quarterback left, but he manages the game well for them. And with that running game with Barkley, their defense will be stout. I think Philadelphia wins in a close one in that game too.
I agree. I'm gonna piggyback off it. I think Philadelphia runs in a close one. I think Barkley and Brown and Smith and Hurts. I just think their offense is too good. Love Matt Stafford, but I think this is it.
Yeah, I'd have to go the same way. Philadelphia. I think Barkley's, after what he's shown this year, he might be the best scorer right now. Derrick Henry's good. I think Barkley may be the best in the league at this moment. And I just think they use him in the cold and run all day.
One of the arguments that Greg Dellison have, it's ongoing. I still think the running back matters. He doesn't. Being an agent, he said it's just easy to find one. But man, the Steelers could sure use a running back. Najee's not coming back, is he?
I don't know if I would sign him. I mean, there's another guy.
235 pounds, come on. Quit running side to side, this way.
I talk to my brother all the time. He has shown some promise this year where he did run downhill, but that was just a few 3-4 games. He's the same size as Derrick Henry.
Here's the problem.
You can't understand why he can't run downhill and get the hole.
Here's the problem. All of us were thinking because of the size, he was going to be the next that young man from Notre Dame where his son is now headed. Of course, Lou Holtz recruited him. Jerome Bettis. With all due respect, he's good, but he ain't no Jerome Bettis. All right, anything? How about the Pirates? I'm going to be at Pirate Fest this weekend. Give me a little baseball. Go ahead.
Well, the Pirates are the Pirates.
Listen,
I love them too. I eat, sleep, and drink them till about September 1st, and it's done. But I think with Paul Skeens, if they can get another couple bats going, they can be competitive in that division. I love them. Skeens to me is going to be the best pitcher in the league. He was close to being the best pitcher in the league last year. They just don't have enough firepower, top to bottom, in the lineup.
You being a business owner, Tri-State Supplies, what's this place in the Vault, True North, a couple of brands that I want to promote? Go ahead.
all great businesses. Chuck Bailey and True North is great. Now that he's involved here in the vault, along with Mandy and Kylie and Troy Chisholm and that crew, Drew Dawson holding the camera for us is a big part of that with those guys. East Liverpool's starting to come back, Rob. You know, a lot of good businesses, a lot of good people working behind the scenes to help out and to help this community thrive again. So I think we're all on a good page and moving in the right direction.
This is your hometown. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's here. I haven't left it. That's for sure. Born and raised, except Magnet. I love it here. I still like it here. Sometimes I wonder why I'm still here, but you know,
Where are you gonna go? Where are we gonna go?
Florida sounds pretty good now
Nah,
in this weather.
I like it right where I'm at, baby.
But yeah, I mean, I still bleed blue, and you know, it's home. It's on the comeback. Hopefully, we can get some incentive to bring some other businesses in and start thriving and get some job creation up inside those businesses that come in.
Listen, as much love as I have for people in this community, you know, I'm going to be 68 years old coming up in a couple of weeks. So God forbid, if something happens, I love the Arners, but don't let me end up over there. Because somebody's going to be paying for that. Even though I love them, you better make sure that I end up down there with Dawson's place. All right, that's one thing you guys got to do for me. Before we go, though, this place is an incredible community. The people are second to none. And isn't it ironic when you think about Notre Dame and Ohio State, all the connections to both of those schools right here. But the last time they won that national championship, Lou Holtz, 1988, Rick, we were living it, man. That was huge.
Yes, it was unbelievable. I can't even. Who was the quarterback? I know they had Rocket Ishmael on the team.
Tony Rice.
Tony Rice.
And you know who was West Virginia quarterback? Major Harris.
Yeah, from Pittsburgh.
That was. I mean, that's drama, man.
Yes.
For you
that
guys.
was awesome.
I know. Rub it in.
Was Kate even born?
No, it wasn't.
Give me a year.
It wasn't. But man, that was a magical time. And let me tell you, has it been that long?
My senior year.
You were a stud, though. Both you guys, man. I mean, just ironheads. I mean, you guys. Did you ever come out of a basketball game without a straight? I mean, was that the way you were growing up as kids?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you fight amongst yourselves?
Absolutely.
No.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have to fight him. I beat him with talent.
He had some scrapes on him.
Yeah, I didn't fight him.
I'm moving back.
I didn't fight him, no.
Listen, all the years that I did play-by-play, I saw so many great ones, and we'd be here all night. But man, you two were just like reckless, man. I mean, whatever it
He
took.
was the same way.
See,
This one here was the same way.
I wish I'd had a chance to see him. Well, his coaching style, he's really got something good going here right
Absolutely.
now. Picked up where
Absolutely.
Nate left off, and listen, I don't care what anyone says. People love football, and you got a great football coach. Things are heading in the right direction. But when I think of East Liverpool in the wintertime, I think of the field house. I think of basketball. Right?
So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing better than playing at that field house. I wish I could get it back. You know, we talk about it all the time, don't we?
I was over at Westinghouse High School interviewing a couple of their Dante Green, their football coach, their wrestling coach, and I had to wait around for a couple of hours. And the real reason I was there, truth be told, I remember how many times Westinghouse came down to the field house to play the Potters.
Yep.
That's one of the things, Coach, for a couple of old timers and not so old timers. I like to see more like, Pennsylvania City League. I'd like to see some of those games on the schedule. I think fans embrace seeing that. It's just good to see that different attitude come in, and it just kind of creates that little rivalry.
Yeah, obviously, like I've said before, we're trying to bring the holiday classics back. We're going to try to expand it and make it as fun as it used to be. But that's a big part of my thing too. Is we have to get away from playing the same teams all the time. We have to spread our wings a little bit and play some different competition, because there's no question about it. The Western PA basketball is different than the Ohio Valley basketball. The up north, the up north basketball is a little different than the Ohio Valley basketball. So we have to spread our wings a little bit if we want to win some district titles.
Think about this, though. You've got Midland, which is now Lincoln Park. You guys in Wellsville, and you think of people like Bobby Dawson and others who have coached Nick Alloy. We really have been in a hotbed of high school basketball.
We've been blessed.
We have been.
We've been blessed.
How about Bobby Dawson? I think about him all the time, man.
Yeah, he was a great coach.
He was a great coach. And
Great coach.
Nick, and you're a great coach too, but you're a little young. Nick Alloy was a great coach.
I never had a chance to play for Nick, but his record speaks for itself. I watched a lot of his teams. My brother had a chance to play for Nick. He was a wonderful coach, and he had a heck of a lot of talent that came through with him too. I mean, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Talk about Nick Lloyd.
Playing for both of them was like night and day.
Go ahead.
That.
Talk
you
to
know,
me.
Bob Dawson was going to make. He'd make you run through the wall, and the players did. Nick was a whole different approach. Nick rolled the ball out there and wanted your talent and wanted us to showcase what we could do. And what he put together, I tell my brother and these guys all the time, is Nick is the best pregame planner that I ever ran into in basketball. I'd go scout for him, when I coached with him after I played, but I'd give him the players and maybe their scouting report, and he would put it together. And he's 100% right. I mean, he scouted them, and he would know exactly by watching teams for 3 minutes what these people could do against him, to combat it, to work their way, and let's face it, it was fun. Nick allowed you to play. Nick allowed you to be a player. People always talk about, oh, he's a player's, he's a coach's player or player's coach, and Bob Dawson might not have been. He might have been sitting down if you made a mistake. Nick Lloyd understood that you can make mistakes. He might not have liked it. He'd yell at you, and some guys might say some things back, like he might yell back at him. But at the end of the day, he's like, get out there and do what you do. You're the point guard, go out there and run the point. You're the scorer, go score. And that's one thing I did like about him, is he gave you that freedom. And I talked a lot with Quinny Carter about it. Quinny loved his offense because he gave you that. We just ran a simple Duquesne and a simple power, and
Boom, boom.
It allowed us to freelance off of it, which in '88 was something that you see today. Space the floor and work your way off of that. And it worked for Liverpool through the '90s. Well, plus we had the talent, but that's the type of guy that Nick could be. And he was a no-holds-barred guy.
Oh, yeah.
When he got mad, look out, because you would sit there.
Listen, remember,
He'd make us run.
what if that sky blue blazer is still around? I mean, it was like he wore that thing everywhere, man. I love Nick Lloyd.
That's the thing with Nick, is that's the one of the, he never shied away from anybody.
No.
We loaded up in Pete Copeland's van, go to Elwood City Camp in the summer, and he'd take all 8 of us up there, and 6 or 7 of us didn't want to ride home with him if we didn't have a good day at camp, but you had to.
So you're gonna do a lot more of that stuff, Coach?
Yeah, like I said, I think that's the ultimate goal, is we have to come together. I mean, next year there's gonna be no question about it. We're gonna be young. We're losing 8 seniors. We only dress 12 guys in varsity. We only have 2 juniors. So we're gonna be young. So the more that we can play in the summertime, and the more competition we can play in the summertime, the more we get beat up in the summertime. The better. That's what these kids need. We need to play outside more. I'm sure these guys can talk about it. They played outside nonstop. So that's definitely something we got to do. We got to get tougher as a unit, and just the more we can play together, and the more these kids can come together now. I think this group coming up, can be dangerous. But right now, I'm focused on these 12 guys we got in the locker room right now.
Last thing, what's it like coaching?
Love it. Glad to be back. Glad that Kate asked me to do it. I love it. A little bit, had to knock the rust off at first and get some things. And
He's JV, but he wants to play big and he wants to win them all. That's
I'm
the
freshman,
Derringer way.
and I haven't won one.
Yeah, but you know what, man?
I wasn't gonna say a word.
Listen, these kids are going to have a journey, and they're going to be taking that journey the very first day they have this guy coaching them. To get to this level, it's going to be all good in the neighborhood. Believe me, you're a great teacher of the game. Your dad's the best. You're the best. I love this young man. Why else would I be down here on a winter night that I could be back home kicking back? All right, listen, come to the vault. Hey, we'll leave the lights on for you. Until next time, we'll be back here next week. Go Potters. Steubenville on the road tomorrow night. You Potter fans, Dean Martin Boulevard. Be there. Good night.
That's right.